So I felt I need to be here to talk about it. And what is that sub-theme? It's a monetization of online content creation. The impact on global streaming. I'm going to take you through a journey. So I will ask you to get ready for takeoff. Fasten your seatbelt. Because it's a journey we are going to go. At the end of the day, when we leave this place, we'll leave with a changed mindset. By the time I'm done with this, I think we will have all seen the money, including myself. So please, just be ready. While we wait for the slide, some of the things we are going to be seeing today, we are going to talk about the disruption. Sometimes, if you want it to sound dramatic, you call it the great disruption. So we're going to talk about the digital disruption. We're going to talk about content monetization. We have always been shouting monetization. What are the various options? I think based on experience, we're going to go and look at it. Because monetization, some few years back, is not the same way we monetize today. Because I often tell my colleagues, the problem we're having in the industry is that the market changed due to the disruption, but the marketing did not change. So it's like doing things same way and expecting a different result. Okay. So we're going to see the various monetization options. I'm going to show you some of them. Then the very key important thing, which is one of the main phrase in that sub-theme, is streaming. What is streaming? We're going to look at that. Then we have all manners of streaming. You have the free type. You have what I will call the pro type. What are the difference between the free and the pro? What are the advantages and the disadvantages of these two? Also, action to be taken. What are we supposed to do after getting to know some certain things so that we don't go back the same way, so that we don't move between the 20 by 20 feet square feet? So we're going to talk about the actions that will be taken. Then again, in this whole value chain of content production and monetization, I would like you to identify, because we are going to go through some stuff. Where do you belong? I also ask myself, where do I belong? You have to be able to pinpoint where you belong. Then you'll be ready to see the money. Okay? I think I want to believe they want us to go ahead, even though I would have loved to see the slides. The disruption, or in a more dramatic term, the great disruption. What is that disruption? Please, the next slide. Move to the disruption. That's where we are. Yes. Next one, please. Next. Yes, that's a disruption. We all know what disruption is. You see, that disruption is actually a digital disruption, because before now, a lot of us who have been in the industry for a while. I see Fidelis Tuka here. When we're doing analog, he takes his program, Eldorado. Yes, thank you. To some station, MBI and others. Sometimes we meet there with my own program. But all that has changed with digitization. It brought about serious shake-up. Shake-up of the economy, of content production. Shake-up and change. A lot of changes. Even the consumption habits, all that changed. For instance, our friend and colleague, Oke Ogujefo, when he released this movie, Amina, because of what I saw with the trailer, I said, I don't want to watch it on my phone. So I said, I will have time, and when I'm free, I will go to the house because it's not in cinema. I'll watch it through my smart TV that I power using surround sound so that I will feel as though I'm in a cinema. But on the other hand, my wife, who is a very busy director, in between cuts, she watch it using our mobile phone. Those are some of the changes this digitization has brought. It changed our consumption habits, and that affects even the monetization. What are the challenges now? Well, we're talking about content monetization. If I may ask, what is monetization? Because sometimes we speak too much grammar. What is monetization? I think I put it in a very mild and direct way here. He said monetization is a way of leveraging on content. So when it's watched, you earn money. And the question now is that, are you earning money from your content being watched? A lot of us are crying, there's no money, Nigeria is tough, things are hard, and we have so many contents. And some of them we put on free mediums, and we are crying, there's no money. Yet your content is money. So we're going to look at what can we do to earn money from there. These are some of I just highlighted these three. There are more than that. The factors that contributed to content growth. Factors that contributed to content growth, and I put it as a rapid digitalization. It's rapid. Increase in use of mobile phones and tablets, and the growing popularity of online video streaming. I dare to tell you, without any fear of contradiction, that is the future. Streaming is the future of our industry. I am not a football fan of any sort. I'm feeling I'm too busy. I'd rather do some other things. It's not my interest anyway. But I have my son. Sometimes in his room, I will hear him shout. He's at home because of ASU strike. The first time I rushed to his room, what happened? On his phone, he was watching a live match. That is streaming. That is streaming. The popularity is growing. I'm sure those days, they may come to the sitting room that, sir, please, can I just watch this match? After this match, you can continue. But we all do our own things in our own way. So the growing popularity of online streaming, it has come to stay. Streaming, another English show. What is streaming? Let's see. I put it mildly here also. As video streaming is a continuous transmission of video files, also audio files from a server to a client. The difference between some other online stuff is that there are some you can download, but when we talk about streaming, you cannot download. It's like you watch some certain things on YouTube, except you have some special apps also. I know some people use that. Otherwise, if you are not online, you cannot watch it. That's streaming. Now, you see, let's see what it has done in terms of economy and how we can. Hello? Okay. In terms of economy, this, as at 2021, that's the market, almost $60 billion. I know this year's budget, 2022, the whole of Nigerian budget is about 39 point something billion. But on streaming, last year, we got this globally about $61 billion, not naira. Then there's a projection with 21% growth. It's going, by 2028, we have about 224 billion. How much of that are you going to tap into with your own content when you stream? We're going to see how we're going to go about that. Even the various platforms and all that for streaming, they have their own growth too. 17.3 in 2021 and projected to be 36.2 by 2026. Talking about global streaming infrastructure market. Don't worry about that. We are going to break it down. You cannot talk about streaming without talking about YouTube. Why? They control 2.6 billion unique users. That is massive. That's more than a fourth of the world. I think we are still less than 8 billion now. So they have 2.6 billion unique users. That is. They have this, Bloomberg have this data on YouTube, not me. You see, according to their study, 96.5% of YouTubers don't make enough money to crack the US poverty line. I will also tell you that 96.5% of YouTubers in Nigeria don't make enough money to crack Nigeria poverty line. Nigeria poverty line is very low compared to this, but yet we don't make. Why? We have to check. Then again, one of the reasons here, I think, is that 3% and channels with nearly 1.5 million views per month, 1.5 million views per month, make less than $17,000 in revenue per year. If you check that, it's about 0.03 per view, pence per view. Video, okay, what is the alternative? We have to look at this. If not YouTube, then we'll look at professional streaming platforms, which you can own one, which I am working on my own. So we can do that. What are the advantages? One, security. Because like I said, some people have perfected the art of downloading on YouTube. Some people have perfected the art of downloading even on Netflix. But then there are security. The more, if you have a professional private or your company one that you are pushing content through, 6 billion viewers, I think they have a lot to contend with. You don't need, if you have 0.05% of that number, you won't call yourself a poor man if you have such platform. You have a 24/7 customer service support available, because most of those platforms, the infrastructure holders, they will give you a backup or a back-end support. So if you have one, I'm sure Fidelis will talk more, he knows more about that, because some of your rights when you upload your content there. But when you have your own platform, which is easy and is cheaper now to have, you have all the rights. And that's what we are encouraging. Now, talking about streaming, let's look at the revenue model. Hello? The revenue models is almost the same with the regular TV, but there are some certain changes. In fact, this one gives you more room. You have the ad-based revenue model. That's through advertising. Those days, we go cap in hand, moving from one advertising agency to the other, to beg them, please, come and please advert on my program. I was in one program then, household. I did some other Ojulekef and some. So come and place your advert there. So you go, you make some of them friends. Even though you don't like them, you have to make them friends if you want your program to survive. So you have the ad-based revenue. But here, it's a different thing. You're looking for the money, you want to see the numbers. Once you have the right, the back end, as they are watching, the number of views on its own, automatically, it's, if people view, it will tell you you can do anything. In fact, there's almost no impossibility with this current ecosystem. So you have the transactional revenue model. Sometimes they call it pay-per-view. You just watch, you pay, you move on. The transactional. You have the subscription-based, and I think what I'm working on, that's the major thing I'm pursuing. If I have like 500 or 1 million people paying me every month, maybe $5 even to view my channel, I'm sure I will be a multi-millionaire in Nigeria. And I'm working on that, and that's the one I will actually advise. You can use other model. Then you have what we call the freemium, coming from the premium and the free. In other words, you have some content people can just watch for free. There's no gateway, there's no payment, and you have exclusive content that they will pay for. Sometimes you use that freemium to pull people closer. When they come, they want to watch this, they cannot go further. And again, you can actually use even YouTube in that regard to do the promotion. You send the links there. Once they click on it there, since they have that number, it will bring them straight to your own platform. Okay. What do we do as Africans, as Nigerians? What are our advantages? Sometimes we want to compete with Oyinbo, and I'm telling you, you cannot compete with them. There's nothing like originality. Do we have the numbers in Africa or for black people? Let's see. What's our population in Africa today? I think it's not, about 1.4 billion people now live on this continent called Africa. 1.4 billion. By this 2022, we're about 1.4 something billion in Africa. What percentage of that do you need as a black man to do your content for fellow Africans in Africa? 1.4. You need 0 point something percent. It's a huge number. It runs in millions. So why not set that as your target objective? Besides that, you may say, okay, there are places they don't have internet penetration, but you'll be shocked at the level of internet penetration in Africa. Let's start. Let's look at the number. In 2021, the number of mobile internet users in Nigeria amount to 101.7 million. I'm sure the minister in charge of that also is here, and he can confirm this. Over 100 million internet users in Nigeria. What percentage of them are you targeting with your content? Then, the number of smartphone users in Nigeria, say it's between 25 and 40 million. That means 25 million is a lot. You just need a chunk of that, some percentage of that, and you see the money. But this one really thrilled me. It said the World Bank and African Development Bank reports there are 650 million mobile users in Africa, surpassing the number in the US and Europe. Are we taking advantage of that? Just watch. I'm coming. Okay, that's Africa, 650 million. Then add these numbers to it. I don't know if you can see it. You have black people or African diasporans in America, and maybe mulattoes, who have their roots. They want something to do. Sorry, in Brazil, you have about almost 56 million that are looking for your content. A friend of mine came from the Caribbean, and he told me that he has a business proposal from that place that they are asking him. You people are black like us. The whites don't see us as one of them. You are black brothers. We can't even access your content. Now with streaming, now with digitalization, you can reach them everywhere just through an app. So what advantage are we taking? About almost 56 million of them, they are in Brazil. You just need some percentage of that. In the US, you have over 42 million. They have the resources, they have the data to use, and there's this resurgence of among the blacks that they want to link themselves to their roots. Why don't you take advantage of that? There are some shops now online. One, they say it's for black people, and they encourage black people to patronize them, not just in the US, but around the world. So if you look at all the numbers like that, Haiti, over 8 million, almost 9 million, Dominican Republic, Colombia, even in France, almost 4 million blacks are there. In Jamaica, just like that, up to Germany and more. If you put that number together, you have maybe close to about 200 million. Are you taking advantage of that? All you need from there is just a percentage. Okay. Having said this, there's an archetype for content stakeholders. You have content creators, you have aggregators, you have digital platform companies, you have infrastructure providers, you have advertisers, you have advertising and media agencies, you have media consumers, you have regulators. marketing to target maybe Nigerians or Africans in a particular place. Thank you. In a particular place, it is going to give you, and you expose your advert only to those people, not to everybody. They will get it. They also help you to push it on. Content marketing strategies. In fact, if you don't know about it, get a strategist. They are there. You can get some online. You can get some of them, or you can develop yourself. I do my strategy myself. Develop audience analytics. I just talk about that. Who are you targeting with this particular thing? You describe it. Their demography, their psychography, and all that. It will help. Then the new market. Create a new market based on your content. Then establish key partners. I've been talking to Mr. Samagbi. I've known him in a very long time, more than 30 years ago, at National Council for Arts and Culture, and I'm happy to meet him here today. I'm developing new partnership, establishing new ones, because possibility on what we can do. With all this, see the money. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother, friend, and colleague, Mr. Steve Immobile. Thank you very much. I think we've heard a lot. Show, see, and have the money. Talked on several issues: monetization, digital, analytics, streaming, platforms, and all that. I think the key for most people who are listening here is we want to see the money and also have the money. While the lead speaker was presenting his paper, my Egbon, brother, friend of several years, the man who has transferred several information and arts parastatal as DG, the only man in Nigeria. Yeah. He has been everywhere. I've been envying him. When I see my Egbon, I say, oh, I want to be like him, from NOA to NTDC to... I said, no, only this man. No. I want to be like him when I grow up. Otumba Shegun Oshewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. What we'll do quickly, because he was supposed to give a goodwill message to the festival before the lead speaker. So quickly, he will give us his goodwill message and we'll go into the panel discussion immediately. We'll throw the question to our panelists and then do that. So, Otumba Shegun Oshewe, goodwill message to the...
The chairman of the occasion, the lead speaker, very distinguished panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Initially, I was asked to sit down, but I think it's better for me to stand up so that in case if I decide to buy form for presidential whatever, you will not say you didn't know me before. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On a very serious note, I'm extremely delighted to be here today. Let me first and foremost thank the leadership of Nigerian Film Corporation under Dr. Madueke for this wonderful platform being put together. For some of us, this kind of platform, you only find them abroad when you travel for some seminars or workshop or some. But today we are having it right here in the hall. We had Chogon to tell us the seriousness of this particular brand. For me, a quick one. This is one industry that have changed the economy of most countries of the world. We have taken it for granted. But I thank, once again, Nigerian Film Corporation for reawakening our consciousness to do the right thing at the right time. We should realize one thing, that this will give a level playing ground, a platform for the ordinary filmmaker in Nigeria to interact with the international community. So for me, it's a platform to make more money. When the last speaker was speaking, I was just looking at him because something spectacular happened in the last 2-3 weeks. I was sitting in my office and I got a call from one of the ambassadors. And he said to me, Otumba, we want to produce a film in collaboration with a Nigerian team. And I said, what is going on? I put a call to RMD, Mufedamijo, that please tell us that our productions are recognized all over the world. And for me, I think Samagbe is here. We had to get 2 Nigerian producers, one lady and a guy. So now they're about to start work. They're likely going to be traveling to that country to join hands in producing a year. And they were really, impressed with it. So for me, this is an opportunity to open other doors for our country. And I would like to plead with all of us. I am trying to come up with a program now. I want to interact with the producers of film. Please, let us stop giving negative perception to this great country. Let's start to give Nigerians the right thinking at the right time. The ambassador to the Gambia called me. Otumba, please, how many people do you kill in Nigeria every week? Because he saw some of these films were doing some terrible things. He didn't know that it was the thinking of a marketing strategy, which is not right all the time. So for me, I think the time has come. We are one of the greatest people in the whole world. I can tell you, travel to anywhere in the world, when you meet a Nigerian, you meet a peaceful gentleman and lady. But we try to portray ourselves not to be. Please, I'm appealing using this platform today of NGF to plead with all of us, particularly the producers. Let us start to give Nigerians the right image. The lady from the Gambia, the ambassador, thought every film she watched were those demonic and some not. Nigerian Film Corporation is giving us a platform to also correct some of these things. The whole world is big enough for every bird to fly without touching each other. Instead, collaborate and work to the eye. And in trying to produce it, he realized that he didn't have the strength in every compartment. And he invites other producers to come and join. Today, this film is raking billions of dollars across the world. They didn't envy each other. They collaborated, worked together to produce a unique brand for the United Arab Emirates. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. We must produce something to represent the great Nigerian of today, tomorrow, and our greatest future. Thank you, and good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. It can be bigger than that. Thank you. Otumba is the president of World Craft Council. World Craft Council. Not Witchcraft Council, so I don't get World Craft Council at the African region. Thanks for having you, sir. We pause for 5 minutes to see a documentary on Abuja. 5 minutes, then we enter into the matter, the direction where the money is coming from. Thank you very much. 5 minutes. I think there was some technical glitch there. Hopefully, it will be corrected so we can see the beautiful Abuja. Beautiful Abuja. Mr. Okay, let me take from Professor Armstrong. Sir, for some time you were in charge of broadcasting. And all over the world, when we say follow the money, money can be gotten by content creators. What is happening or what has happened to the Nigerian, because all we're talking about now is digital. The NTA that created programs like Hotel the Jordan, Cockradon, thank God now, Village Headmaster has just been revived, the new Masquerade. Don't you think it was the ingenuity of these stations then that brought it? What has happened, sir? Or there's no money to be made again from these television stations because they don't talk about content creation anymore. Everybody's news. Is this sustainable?
After all, Otumba was standing up for 100 million. Thank you, Lancelot. I think that that's a very relevant question. Granted that broadcasting actually perhaps began the whole idea of propagating or disseminating video or film content or television content at a point in the Nigerian media space. But let me quickly thank the MD of the Film Corporation and his staff for consistently putting this together. Like Otumba said, it is not easy, it is world class, and I've seen the doggedness, the consistency in putting this together. It's quite commendable. I'm also glad that, and I want to believe you are doing some kind of documentation of the process. I see a lot of students are here, and even young core members, which is also brilliant for the future of the industry. Yes, Steve, I think your paper was quite detailed. Yeah, it was quite detailed. It was holistic, and it showed that he had the not just the theoretical pedigree. He also had, a participatory insight regarding the details of the film corpus in Nigeria, especially with the issues of the commodification, or what you call the monetization of content. And I remember Steve has been chasing the money for quite a while, to France, to many other places in the world. I saw him following money. Now, but briefly, before I come to the very straight question about the role of broadcasting, as I listened to Steve, what occurred to my mind is the question whether content commercialization or commodification or monetization has not had a history in Nigeria. And the obvious fact is that from the times of Ubatugunde and all those who evolved the film corpus in Nigeria, there's been some degree of commercialization and monetization. At a point, the Ogunde and his family, Duro Ladiko and others, basically lived and sustained their careers and their livelihood on incomes that they generated from filmmaking. But the question needs to be asked, what happened to that estate? At what level was it reinvented, or what advances did we make, from the commodification or monetization at that level? Did we have any structural plan to develop the value of content at that time? If we had done that, perhaps it would have been easier to transit into the current era, probably, which is the era of the internet, the era of the IT, and the statistics are big, the potentials are very huge, we can't see. But are we also creating data? Are we also analyzing, and looking at what the numbers are saying? Fide and I were just discussing. I was at Expo Dubai last year, and I did a paper, and I was speaking with some experts who already projected that all the potential and euphoria about the value of the internet, that it was coming to a tipping edge, that the bubble will burst soon. And they even stated quite scarily that some of the projected figures were given, including the one Steve was giving, about the volume of money that's generated by the internet is actually fiction. That in terms of estate value, in terms of quantification, appropriate, rating of what the values are, that they are not. That people are just investing, assuming that the value will be there. That the real actual value may not be there. And what better example than the plethora of content that you see on the internet? Sometimes 3,000, 4,000 channels. Now, how are you able, as a consumer, to watch? What do you watch per time? Right? And when brands are competing so competitively, so rapidly, of course, the tendency is for one to kill the other, and many others will drop along the line. So it is important from the Film Corporation to begin to evaluate, and I think you should do that, Doctor. You begin to evaluate what the value proposition of Nigerian media content is in the past, present, and what it's going to be like in the future, because there's still going to be a future, for the film content. So these are things I think you should look at. Now, regarding the Nigerian film industry, yes, and the relationship to broadcasting, I think it's one of growth, right? And that should be cheering news. What the industry has done is to go above the liturgy, the bureaucracy, right, of the old NTA. And if you remember, people like you had to think outside the box to move from the VHS, from the NTA setup to go on your VHS platform. So there's been transformation in terms of malleability of platform, right? And what more, the convergence of the media imposed by digital technology has opened up many, many more chances for content commodification or monetization, which we want, which is good. But broadcasting still continues to be perhaps a dependable, even they too are dynamizing. Many of them are also joining the platform. Some of them are also creating. So we find out that the potential is there, for content expansion policy, where Otumba Rosewe and Dr. Chidia and other policy formations will have to sit down, as I said, reappropriate, reinterrogate, the content sphere, the valuification of content within the Nigerian media space, and see where film has been, where it is, and where it should be in the future. Thank you very much, Lancelot.
Okay. Okay, sir. From his talk and from the question, it's clear that we should not just jettison the traditional broadcast medium as far as content dissemination and money making is concerned. But the question now, sir, Appel, you've been in the business for quite some time. How come there seems to be nothing coming as far as the traditional broadcast medium or media houses are concerned? How many original content do we have today on our local televisions, and how many local televisions are patronizing the content creators? Your take, please.
Good morning, everybody. We started with the NTA, started out with Tales by Moonlight, Winds of Destiny. These are contents that were some of us watched them before, ended up on them, and we benefited so much from them. And over the years, then we saw advertisers paying for this content, and they were paid to do them. But we lost all that over the years. And today, more and more, these television stations are not having the budget to do this kind of productions. And of course, that has set us to go looking elsewhere. You know, and the question that you asked me, I have things to say, but the question that you have asked me, I cannot begin to talk about those things. So basically, I think we lost that some years ago, and some of us who are sitting here today benefited from the medium.
So we want to make this session as fast as possible. We have barely 30 minutes, so we can even take from the audience. I want to go back to the paper that was presented by the lead speaker, and of course, dovetail into the last comment made by Professor Dachaba. You know, when you give a prof the mic, he can spend 20 minutes talking. We only asked him a question. He made a very vital point. For those who have followed the trend online, you will find that in the last 2 weeks, Netflix, which is the biggest platform in the world for video content, VOD, came out with a report that they lost 200,000 subscribers recently for the first time in 10 years. It's a big question. And one of the challenges they have, I know most of you who have Netflix account here, share the accounts. There was a misconception during the COVID-19. That was when the digital era, everybody felt that the digital space is an open space for everybody. And critically, Prof mentioned 3,000 or 4,000 channels. There are more than 150,000 channels globally in excess. So my question will go to Professor Abdul Karim. There's something that happened in the North in 4 or 5 years ago where we found the filmmakers sending films to their mobile phones. That was when the DVD and CD market. And we saw that trend. They were sending these films on their phone, and they were making downloads of as much as 300,000 to 400. So even 1 million downloads were done with a particular film. I can't remember the name of the film in nothing. How did that experience, how did you guys forge that new market? Because for us here, we want to learn new trade. One of the biggest challenges, as Prof said, the DG of the NC, collaborations. When that happened in the North 5 years ago, 1 million downloads from a particular film, none of us from down south went there to ask them, how did you guys do this on your phone? And these were on not normal Android phones, normal, as they call it in Yoruba language, just normal small phones, and they were doing downloads. So, Alaji, can you help us with that?
Alaji wants to contest.
Okay.
No, I'm not contesting, because the usual tradition is to stand on existing protocol.
Okay.
So that is what I'm doing. Very interesting question. Yes, it is a very peculiar experience. And ironically, what happened was the disruptions that was being talked about here is the ripple effect of disruption in the digital space that brought about what happened in terms of the downloads. Because here we have young people that are brewing with ideas. They call people like me BBC. BBC means born before computers. So what they can be able to do with their smartphones, I, being born before the computer, cannot be able to do it. And because there is pressure on how people should earn a living, they just keyed into the digital space that is being created by the digital disruption to now create a market. And that market was, yes, if I'm digitally savvy, I can be able to steal people's rights of content to make money without making any investment but for my creative knowledge that is up here. And that is what brought about the proliferation of guys that can be able to download for a negligible fee of about 100 naira. You can walk home with about 10 movies on your smartphone. And incidentally, they grew to the point where they even had an association of downloaders. And there is nobody that is a creative person that has keyed into that market area because it's their own space. It's a digital space that has come about, and they were in charge. And they even impinged on the first state censorship board to register them as bona fide people that can earn a living out of people's rights. And this is the tragedy of the situation. Instead of the creative minds to capitalize on the existing opportunity, it is a brand new youth that are smartphone savvy that were reaping the benefits. And that brought me to a point that from the submission of Osezua, an excellent presentation of taking us through the journey that he said that will lead us to the money. What has been a stumbling block leading us to the money has been piracy. And this question that Fidelis has asked, incidentally, is also bordering on piracy, because these are pirates that have created a space out of no space that they have made investment for, and they have reaped the benefits, leaving us, the creative content producers, begging rather than reaping out of the benefit. So it says, well, maybe one issue that we need to talk about is this issue of piracy and how it impinges on monetizing the content that legitimate, bona fide, creative sector persons are being ripped off. Thank you so much.